Hi everybody, it's James from Jurassic Unicast, and today we are discussing Jurassic World Rebirth. And today I am also joined with some of the boys. Here they come. There's Chris, Mike, and Matt. And I'm just going to unmute them because I muted them because they're noisy. There we go. There we go.
How's it going, boys?
How are we all?
Like, we're going to be on the lookout for this bloody mutant thing. You know, you hear a noise, you hear a tree move.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there it is. Turns out it's not. Anyway, and obviously we don't see that again until the end of the film. And then the Mutadons were literally just a raptor replacement. But you could take both of those out of the film, and it doesn't stop the three scientists or three people, the main characters, getting the job done. The main mission was to get these DNA samples. And nothing about the mutants even stopped them at all remotely. So they might as well have not been in a film.
It also kind of got me at the beginning, like, we didn't know before this film really where this was going to take place, because that hadn't really been told. We know it was going to be a facility, but the fact that this facility is so far away from any other islands that Jurassic Park has been on, like, I know it was a research facility, but take this right. So that was the 5 deaths were in Costa Rica. This one was in, where was this one? This was trying to think where this was based, but it was nowhere near Costa Rica. So say they got a dinosaur, they've then got to ferry that a lot further to Costa Rica to get to the island if they wanted to. It just doesn't make sense logistically. And again, it's just, what, we found another island with dinosaurs on it. We've had like 6 movies now, and this island has never ever been mentioned in any text, any backstory, no nothing. It's just another island that's popped up. I can get over that. It's storyline. They've got to make movies. The only way they can do that is by popping up another island. But I don't know. It just didn't make sense. Like you said, James, we just wanted a bit more backstory and how this came about. And I think I probably would have been a bit more satisfied with it.
I mean, I like the opening scene. The opening scene's great. It doesn't bother me. I think it's one of the better ones, to be honest. I think the way it was, it's a bit tongue in cheek the way it happens, but I don't really mind it at all.
There's no way everything can be brought down by a Snickers. There's no way on earth. Like, about it, maybe, but not Snickers. But like, say, I actually, there's some really good things I liked in this movie. Like, there's some really nice scenes. I like the scene with the compare. I even like with the scene with the dialogue. The Rex River scene was great. Again, we'll come on to what we like. But again, I don't want to just hate on this movie because I actually enjoyed the movie, but there is quite a few negatives on it in terms of it being a Jurassic movie.
Yeah.
Would you rate it above Dominion?
Absolutely. Me?
Yeah.
I think in terms of like dinosaur set pieces and everything like that, yes, because Dominion really lacked that sort of thing. And again, if there's one major positive I will give to this movie, is that for the first time in quite a few films, the dinosaurs themselves, even the D-Rex as well, actually, they actually felt like animals. They felt like animals, not movie monsters. They behaved very naturalistic, and that's one thing. That's a big thing for me, and so that's a big plus for me. But would I rate it above Dominion? I probably would, yeah. But don't get me wrong, with Dominion, I understand the problems it's got, and it does have a lot of them. But I enjoy Dominion. But I think a lot of that is because of the original cast, because I'm a sucker for nostalgia. Yeah. So
tell you what, one thing I did like in this film was the CGI was flawless.
It was brilliant.
So good.
The CGI was so good. Like, I've nitpicked CGI in the past with Jurassic World and stuff like that, where it just, certain things irritate me. There's not one point in this film where it kind of took me out and I thought that doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think regarding like the way the Dominion conversation, I think Dominion suffered with trying to do too much. I think. I mean, it felt like a mixture of stories that were trying to go on one journey and fuse into one story for a finale. and there were certain elements of the stories that kind of it could have been its own trilogy on its own, to be fair.
Yeah.
Almost like the Henry Wu type sort of arc was a bit. I don't know. I kind of didn't like the way they chose his journey to go. I wanted it to be like the novel where he he dies. The Maisie storyline went all over the place. It made it, if I'm honest, it made it very difficult to understand. Like at one point, I felt Fallen Kingdom kind of made the story quite simple. Like she was a clone, that's it. And whereas I feel like because people didn't like the cloning idea, they've tried to think, okay, well, it's out there now. How can we manipulate the cloning idea to, I don't know, to make it still work, but let's change it slightly. And then they did the whole reproduction on what do you call it? What Maisie did. She injected the egg.
Self-fertilization.
Yeah, she did like that sort of thing, and it kind of then it made it a little bit complicated because then it was talking about like dates back to 1986, and it was just weird. It was just a bit of a confusing one.
I tell you, I mean, you listed your negatives there of this film, Rebirth. My 4 major negatives of this film is 1, us building us up to see the original Mozart, and then not seeing it. I like the design of the new Mozart, but I would have liked to have seen the original alongside it, cohabiting with it. If the Spinals can do it, that can do it.
Yeah, but
this is the original Mozart.
That's the issue I've got though, because there's a bit of dialogue in the film that says when they're discussing the Mozart on the boat, that since chapter 11, so basically when InGen went bankrupt after the world, they've been tracking it ever since. That's absolutely fine. But then if you're going to do that, just keep the same design, because this new design is amazing. That was my biggest absolutely thing. Amazing.
Yeah.
But how, even if that dialogue's in the movie, which obviously we have to take it at face value, it's the same Mozart, but how do you expect people to sit there and believe, oh, so this Mozart just got rid of its scoots, completely changed its colour, and it's just so...
This film was not made for fans. This film wasn't made for fans, because all these things that we have a problem with, my mum wouldn't have noticed. My mum loved the film. She gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because she loved the characters, she loved all the dinosaurs, or what they were. She didn't know anything about the timeline. She's seen all the films. She didn't know how long Jurassic Park was meant to be ago. Like she didn't know, like this isn't made for hardcore fans. This film, there's nods in it. There's nods in it, which we'll talk about in a little while because I've got some really good little nods in there. That are like for the fans, like little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
But in terms of the simplicity of the story and the little subtle design changes. It's not made for us, like people that don't care about the lore of Jurassic and just want to see, a Mosasaurus attacking a boat. They're not going to care that it's got no scoots on its back.
I say
only we do.
Only we do. My only 4 issues
so
was the Mozart not having the JP Raptors maybe shown a little bit more. I didn't want them to be a plot point or anything like that, but it would have been nice to see him a little bit more. The third thing was the D-Rex was useless. I think it was a useless dinosaur. And I just don't think it did anything. And what you said in your review as well, James, where the last third of the movie, everything had been done. There was nothing else left to do. They're my 4 major gripes of this movie. But in hindsight, when you think about them, they're not massive deals. But yeah, they're my 4 negative points, I would say.
Would you agree that this movie would be better suited if it was a prequel to Jurassic World?
Yes.
Yes.
For me, it was a cross between King Kong and Terra Nova.
Yeah, because obviously the film, the opening scene was 17 years ago, so it's meant to be 2010, right? The park opened in 2015. No, sorry, 2005, wasn't it? But obviously, this is a time where they were apparently people getting bored of looking at dinosaurs. They wanted the new, like, more teeth, so that's why they were doing the genetic, like, the hybridization stuff like that. If they set this movie before 2015, so before Jurassic World, I think this, I personally, for me anyway, I'm only speaking for myself.
Yeah.
I would have enjoyed it a lot more because there would be a lot of questions we have
Fits
now.
the
which
law
are-
better.
Okay, so
Yeah,
why don't you
it
pretend?
fits the law better, exactly.
Why don't you just pretend it is then?
Because it's
Because
not.
there's not enough law there.
Because I can't.
Like, because like they could have explained away if they did it like Matt just said, they could have explained away why this island has never been mentioned before.
Right.
Again, could have been explained like this tragedy happened. I know they've done it now, but it just seemed a bit shoehorned in. Whereas if this was set as a prequel and it goes back and stays there for quite a while, you can. I don't know. Yeah, I think it just worked better as a prequel. I've never thought that though.
Just for argument's sake, right? Let's just change the name of the island to Isla Matanceros or Isla, or even Sanctuary Island.
Yeah, one of the 5 deaths. One of the 5 deaths.
One of the 5 deaths, or even Sanctuary Island that was talking about by Lockwood. Just change the name of it, and then got powder on me. But then also we've got change the title at the beginning of how many years ago it was to Jurassic World. It could quite easily be because there's no connections to anything that comes after Jurassic World. Like the only connections we've got is the Dilophosaurus and the T-Rex. They're literally the only 2 designs that stay true to the Jurassic canon already. Yeah, and to be honest, I think they're and the Apatosaurus. Yeah, I know, but do you know what? The Apatosaurus could always. No. I think I reckon they've just gone. That's. I think this is the thing. This is where this script. This is where this script. I know. Yeah, there's a massive Apatosaurus, but also I think like people. It looks. This is where I think maybe the rushness came in because for all we know, this could be intentional. It could have been intentional to show and sort of back up their idea of people don't care about these animals anymore because one bloke's calling it a brontosaurus, another one's called it a brachiosaurus. Then when we look at it, it's actually an apatosaurus, right? Or the screenwriters didn't know which asset they had in the archive. Yeah. And the CGI artists have gone, oh, well, we've got a load of these apatosauruses, let's just throw this one in. And they've rendered it into the footage. And then you've all of a sudden got, and then by that point, it's too late on the dialogue, but it works and fits the narrative of people not knowing what animals what anymore and lack of caring. I mean, I kind of don't like the idea of the animals not being cared about because when you drive down the road and I point out a horse or a cow to my daughter, she loves it. She goes mad. And it's just a horse or a cow because it's something that she sees in books, in media, on TV, and then she's seen one in real life, so she naturally has that. Oh wow! Even though it's just a cow or any or you know what I mean, or goat. Whereas I don't think that magic would ever go. I honestly don't. I could see the annoyance of them. I can see them becoming a hindrance, especially ones that would kill livestock. I can imagine there being an actual.
Or even look at like elephants in Africa that damage like farmers' crops and stuff like that. You know, what I mean? I can see a Apatosaurus or something like that doing stuff like that. So I can get the hate on that side. But
thing is, I look at it this way, right? Dinosaurs, they've been back. The public's known about them since 1997, right? Mm-hmm. They've only been able to see them in a theme park since 2005. Yeah. So by the time this movie comes out, 'cause it's set in 2027, so that would be 23 years. 22 years, right? There is no way the public interest would completely collapse like they've led us to believe. Yeah, it may wane slightly, but it wouldn't completely collapse.
Yeah. The other factor that they're not taking in as well. Sorry, did you carry on, mate?
No, that's fine. All I was going to say is that zoos today, they've been around for 100 plus years. They're as popular today as they've ever been, and that's animals that you can even go outside and see if you live in the right part of the world. So are they going to try and lead us to believe that if dinosaurs were ever brought back within 20 years of them being in a theme park, the public is just going to completely wash their hands of them but stick to going to the zoo to see elephants and tigers? It's rubbish. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
I think it's ridiculous.
Go on, Mike. Who's going to say something?
Right. So the other thing that it doesn't take into account as well is that they're thinking in terms of the general public are getting tired of these animals, which I agree with you all. That would never happen. No one ever goes to a zoo and think, oh, there's a bloody elephant. God, I really wish that thing had 2 trunks just to make it a little bit more exciting and different or something. Or a giraffe with 2 heads or something. No one ever says that. No one goes to a zoo and says that. Most of these people that in this universe have been to see these animals behind glass. None of them rarely get the chance to interact with these animals. So when they get brought onto the mainland and start causing havoc, yes, they're going to be incidents, whether it be like something like Battle of Big Rock, or they're going to be an inconvenience where you can have a herd of Triceratops crossing the road, which is blocking an entire motorway. But no one's ever going to get tired of looking at these animals. They have a different perspective, but no one's going to get tired of them. I mean, I cannot say for any incidents that I've seen on a news report where there's been an escaped animal from a zoo, or there's been an incident in India where wild animals come onto the main road and cause an incident to motorists, where people are just like, oh, it's another animal. Oh, wish the whole world had just got rid of them or something. We've gone back to be extinct or something. It's just like, what kind of writer thinks that and think, yeah, this is the plot narrative that's going to drive the film forward?
Yeah, I will say though, next time I go to the zoo, I am going to ask them if they've got a 2-headed giraffe, and if they haven't, I'm leaving.
That's a point.
I look back to the scene in Dominion with Maisie. You know when she crosses the bridge and the 2 apatosaurs are in the snow?
Yeah.
Like, that's obviously a working sort of area, and they all stop to be amazed by these majestic animals, and then even to herd them out of the area. Does that look like the public interest has waned, or they're a hindrance? No, they're still in awe of these majestic creatures.
I do think in that situation though, they are meant to be shown as a hindrance though. That's why
that didn't come across in the movie, did it?
I mean, I thought it did, because they had to use the flares to get rid of him.
The only people that would have found them a hindrance are the people that are paying the employees to actually get on with their work. All the employees were like, wow, this is amazing, this is absolutely fantastic. All their bosses would have been like, the deadline's ticking, boys, you need to get these animals gone so we can crack on. They're the only people that are losing interest, not the public.
Yeah, all the workers are like, oh, electric's gone down. Let's have a break now. Come on, chill out for a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, the thing is, I don't think I'll ever understand that sort of point of view of they're not really an interest anymore. I get some kids. I think what it was, the Jurassic World were trying to hint that, kids look at an elephant, let's take a Stegosaurus like an elephant at the city zoo.
Grew up with them.
That's an issue. I guess it's more familiarity, but I mean, I think that sort of narrative, I think people try and jump on that a bit too much. This film doesn't really hark in on that too much. I don't think it does at the start, like they try to suggest that that's the case, but once they're out the city and that is the case, the minute we step foot on that island, like that whole entire sequence at the start is completely forgotten. The only thing that I kind of remember from it is the fact that Henry Loomis, I don't think is getting paid. I'm not sure. Yeah. I don't even know if he agreed on numbers.
Should have asked for money up front.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know we've crapped on this movie a little bit in the last 45 minutes, but I say there are a lot of good points in this movie.
We're going to get to that. We'll get onto that. We might. I'm going to if anything, we're going to segue onto it now. So, guys, so far, if you have actually stuck around, we're going to go through the negatives and the positives. We're going to get to the positives now. So, there are a lot of positives of this film.
There are.
So let's move on to the positives, actually. There we go. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the show tonight. Oh, thanks for ruining my outro, Mike. You can be muted now. Anyway, thanks for watching the show, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are new, I hope you consider subscribing for more content. And obviously, we're going to do some more stuff coming out based on Rebirth. So check that out, click the notification bell, and then you won't miss any of our videos. Until next time, only one thing left to say, boys. Life will find a way. Bye-bye.